Today we are talking about Seint Lip Cheek, the formulations and some easy placement technique. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Sami George and we have been doing a series on what is Seint Beauty and how do you apply it in a step-by-step fashion so you can learn just a little bit at a time. And today we are on to blush and lipstick, also known as lip and cheek. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the different formulations that we offer or how to apply it for your face shape, stick around. This video is for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any part of the upcoming series that remains. And as always, thanks for being here. Okay guys, my makeup is already on up to the point of lip and cheek. So I've color corrected, I've added my foundation, I put my contour on to frame the face, and then added my brightener, which is Seint's word for concealer. I've essentially completed like the 3D foundation look, and now it's time for blush. If you want to see any of the videos on those, I will drop them in the description box below, but today's gonna be a quick one. We are gonna talk about what are the formulations, and I'll give you 2 techniques so you have some starter options for applying your lip and cheek. So Seint has a plethora of options, which is awesome because lip and cheek is truly like the most fun part of this makeup. At least it is for me, because you can play mad scientist, you can make your own concoctions, you can mix and match. And before I started using Seint, I had one blush color that I ran to most of the time, and then like my wedding, going out, like fancier blush color, if you will. And now I almost never wear the same blush combination twice because there are so many options. I think before I became an artist, I owned every shade that Seint made because it's truly the best part. And it's so fun to experiment. You have to experiment with this makeup in general, but I highly encourage you to try different blush colors and different formulations to see what you like and what you can mix and match. So Seint has 3 different formulations: gloss, semi-gloss, and satin, which is just Seint's word for matte. I feel like we have all these words like highlight is foundation, brightener is concealer, satin lip and cheek is what you're used to calling a matte. So what would you use them for? All can be worn on the lips and on the cheeks. A gloss is gonna be just that. It's gonna be a glossier, more hydrating, more dewy look, and they're typically more sheer. There are exceptions to that, but only a few. Typically, this is a sheer product, so if you were thinking of like, I really like to wear lip gloss on the lips, you're probably gonna love gloss on the lips, and it will give you a little bit of pigment on the cheeks, a nice dewy glowing look without a ton of like pigmentation. Now, if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum and you're like, I want more color payoff, I like a matte lipstick, then you're probably gonna be drawn more towards our satin shades. Our satins, again, they are matte. They're almost always gonna give you more color pigment payoff, and they're gonna look more like lipstick as opposed to lip gloss. Now, if you're like me, you like both. My preference when I put on lip and cheek is almost always to start with one that's more pigmented and then to top it with one that's glossy. And some of those glosses have shimmer or kind of like an iridescent sheen to them, so you can create so many different looks. In the middle of that is semi-gloss, which is actually my favorite because it does both in one. You get a little more color payoff and it still gives a dewy look. It's just not as glossy. And I feel like it has a little bit better staying power when we're talking like pigment on the lips itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch all 3 so you can kind of see the difference, and then let's put them on. I pulled out a couple shades to show you the different formulations and how even some of the same formulations can look really different. So with that in mind, you could always reach out to your artist and ask them for a swatch when you're looking at lip and cheeks on the website, because like all swatches on the website, I just don't think that ours are great. And I know most makeup swatched on websites is really hard to kind of see exactly what's gonna look like. So reach out. If you are one of my customers, I have all of the swatches in the color match so you can kind of pick what you like. And of course I can help you if needed, but I feel like lip and cheek is really personal preference. And once you start mixing and matching, you're never gonna go back. What do we have first? So this guy right here is Madrid, and Madrid is going to be a satin formulation. So you'll see it has pretty good color payoff, no shine to it. It's not a gloss, it's truly that matte finish. So this is what the formulation of our satin shades typically looks like. Now we have a semi-gloss. This is Ibiza. If you guys have been around a while, Ibiza was a limited edition shade that has now made its way back to the permanent collection. And you'll see good color pigment, but also now has a little bit of that glow to it. So it has a little bit of satin, a little bit of gloss, best of both worlds. Our last formulation is a gloss, and this is Homecoming. Homecoming is one of our limited edition shades right now, but you'll see it has a little bit less pigment, which is true of most of our glosses, but it has even more of a high shine factor than you will see with Ibiza. So these are the 3 different formulations: satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. I did want to show you Sunshine State. So Sunshine State was the all-time favorite limited edition shade that is now here permanently as of the summer sales event that we had. But here's why I want to show it to you. This is it up here. So you see how it just has that golden sheen to it? It looks so very pigmented in the tin. And yes, you can see a little bit of that pink, but it is everyone's like favorite topper shade. So when you put something on and you want to just increase that glow a little bit, you want a light reflective quality, people grab for Sunshine State. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites. But I wanted to show you how even within the same formulation, they can look very different. So you can always reach out for a swatch. Get my hair out of the way here because I'm gonna show you application. Like I said, everything else is done. So where do we put our blush? Typically people put it in one of 2 places, but there are a multitude of techniques out there. Let's just keep it simple. If you want to lift the face, then you typically want to go 2 fingers away from your nostril, smile, and here you have the outside apple of your cheek. So you'll still be able to see that when you look forward, but you go from the outside of the apple of your cheek up your contour line, okay? Who would like that? Anybody who wants to lift their face, or anybody who feels like they already have a lot of fullness in their cheeks and they don't want any more. So on opposite side of that is people that like it on the apples of their cheek. That's more like 1 finger away from the nose. As a rule of thumb, you want to keep it out of the nasal labial folds right in this area on the outside of that. So 1 finger out, apples of the cheeks, high. You smile because you want it to be high enough where it won't drag your face down. Like down here will drag your face down. So we smile and you can come up here and then kind of feather it back a little bit so it looks cohesive. Who likes that? Anybody who wants to create more fullness or really wants their color to be very visible from the front. Let me show you both. And I'm gonna do a little mixing and matching. We don't even have to match on our face. I'll just show you both techniques. So I'm gonna start with Madrid, and it's a little drier right now. If your product is ever dry, there's a little bit of my hair, you can either run it under a blow dryer or you can leave it like on your windowsill and just the natural heat in the summer or the spring. The natural heat will just warm it up a little bit. If it's winter, don't put it on the windowsill. It'll actually be colder, right? So 2 fingers out from the nose, outside apple of the cheek, and now just tap up that contour line. And less is always more. Build it up as opposed to try and take it off. So outside apple of the cheek, up the contour line. That also helps marry your contour line together. And I can still see it from the front, but it doesn't emphasize the apple of my cheek. So it's a more lifted look as opposed to a fuller look. There we go. Next, we want to make our cheeks more full, same color. Okay, a little bit on the brush. Going like 1 finger out. And now I'm gonna go up that contour line because I still want to make sure that my blush goes all throughout this mask area of my face, but I'm gonna focus a little bit more on the cheek area, creating more fullness. Can you see the difference? Sometimes it's a little hard on camera, so I can build it up for you. And let me look in this mirror here and make sure that I can see. All right, so this one we go up, this one, now let's feather this back. And this is the ideal placement for somebody who wants to create more fullness in their cheeks, or somebody who really likes to see their blush a little more head on. And now you can see the difference more, but we want to keep it out of this area. If you ever feel like your blush placement is off, so like one of the things that I struggle with is I don't have a lot of space in between here. So you can just take whatever brush you used to apply your foundation and like feather that out with what's left. So if I feel like I got this too close to this nasal labial fold here, I'm just gonna go ahead and feather that out a little bit. Or if it's too close to the eye, Creams don't dry. That's one of the amazing things about cream foundation is that it's workable, it's blendable. So now you can see the difference. I think this is a really good demonstration, at least on my end, of a fuller cheek versus a more lifted look. Total matter of preference. There are no rights or there are no wrongs. And there are more things you could do from here, but this is just a great starting point. So we have our satin on, so we have our good color payoff. Now let's jazz it up a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna grab Sunshine State. Remember, that's the one with the golden glow to it. And I'm just going right over top. And now we're gonna create that light reflectant quality that I love so much. I'm gonna keep this out here. I don't necessarily want like this apple part of my cheek to reflect light as much as I do this area out here. But these are so fun and so buildable, and it's literally like my favorite part of Seint. Let's go ahead and do the exact same thing on the lips, except now I'm gonna use suede lip liner. You could also use your favorite lip liner if you have one. You could use a cream contour. I do not have any definition in my lips, so I'm just gonna grab the multitasker brush and create a more defined lip line by tracing like the outer edge. I'm still on the lip, but on the outer edge so it can look as large as possible. And one thing to note when you're putting lip liner on, you typically don't want to go all the way to the outside corner of the lip because as we age, our lip turns down. So you want to kind of create a new lip line by just bringing it in a little bit at the corner versus drawing it all the way to the outer corner. And you can even put a little bit of this liner in this area to kind of help define, the same way we would kind of contour the face. We're now creating just a little bit of contour on the lips so that our focus is gonna be the center of the lip. And I'm doing the same thing up here. Outer edge, coming in, a little bit more. And coming in. They say, professional makeup artists, that you should start here and come up on that line. I'm working on that. Now, let's take Madrid, same color that we had on the cheeks as our base color, and apply it on the lips. Putting that satin on first is gonna help with pigmentation, so it's more like your traditional lipstick. And then we'll put a gloss over top. I do not like a dry feeling on my lips at all, so I am not a matte lip girl. I actually like matte colors on the lips, but I always top them with a gloss. Whether it's Seint or other, I'm a lip junkie, that's my thing. I don't think I'll ever stop buying lip products. But there you go. Now you have your Madrid, and we will go in with Homecoming. Let's mix it up. And now you'll see, put that gloss over top for that more hydrated feeling. And now if you want to get real fancy, you could take your illuminator or even Sunshine State and pop it in the middle to like create that pout. So I'm somebody who keeps like one of these like smaller palettes in my purse with just lip and cheeks, and then I have one in my kitchen because they're my favorites. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you have questions about formulation or picking colors or how to apply, as always, just reach out. I got you. Be sure to check in next week when we finish off our series with bronzer and illuminator, which is typically called highlighter, right? Because we keep all the language confusing. So thank you guys, as always, for being here, and I'll see you next week.